All right, here we go. GM Adrienne, lovely
Hi.
to have you back this morning.
Great to be back.
You've been traveling.
After,
Yeah.
yes, I was in your state again. And
I
then
know, but you're a little
we
like
had,
3.5 hours away. So
yeah. And then we
state's
had
big.
snow in the Northeast, and there were like issues with the runways, like everything that could have gone wrong yesterday with travel went wrong. So they diverted our plane. We landed in a different airport. They were not telling us any information. Very stressed. I was worried I wouldn't be back in time to go live.
Well, you made it. I'm very excited. We have a fun. I just got a notification from chat with Gemini and Chrome. It's like, no, not now.
What?
This is not the time. I don't know. My Chrome just started giving notifications for no reason. We are going to have a great show today. We have an amazing week this week. We have 3 incredible builders who are going to be with us this week. And today we have Igor, who's going to be chatting about Slingshot and builder coins. And we'll talk about that. It's a kind of just a cool design way of launching a coin. And then on Wednesday, we have Cassie coming by to talk about Equilibrium and Quorum Mobile. And then we are wrapping up the week on Friday with Rish from Nadar. So this is going to be an incredible week. I'm really excited. And Adrienne, finally, this is big. Finally, I updated our intro and outro. So they no longer say season 3 and 2005. So isn't that amazing? And after I got it done, then I realized I'm like, oh, I also have to do the Clanker one. So anyway, we'll be back on the other side of this 67 seconds with some Farcaster news, some Clanker news, some builder news, and then Igor coming on at noon. So we'll see you in 67 seconds. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, NounishProf and Adrienne, for another episode of GM Farcaster. This episode of GM Farcaster is powered by Clanker. Each Monday, we'll bring you the latest news from the Clanker team and highlight the builders innovating with Clanker and Farcaster. Visit clanker.world to launch your token and check out all the new features that Clanker V4 has to offer. Thank you, Clanker, for sponsoring GM Farcaster. GM Farcaster. It is Monday, January 19th, and you are here with NounishProf and Adrienne for 29 minutes of Farcaster news to start your day, plus a chat with Igor, who is going to be chatting with us about Slingshot, which is built on Clanker. So very excited. This is our Clancaster Spotlight. Yes. What?
I just also, speaking of Igor, we need to make a correction. I think the ticker is Sling, not Slingshot.
The ticker is Sling.
Yeah.
The platform is Slingshot.
Oh, maybe I messed something up.
Yeah.
So apologies. I need to correct. I don't know what.
Yeah. Sorry. The ticker is Sling, but the product, like the platform, the tool is the tool. That's the word I'm looking for, is Slingshot. So yeah. So there's a little different. Yeah. It's not $ Slingshot. It's $Sling. But anyway, very excited. We have some fun things to jump into before then. So let's dive in on what you may have missed while you were busy watching people flip in the air. Adrienne, 29 seconds of Farcaster. What did you miss this weekend? So butt taps became a thing. Yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit more, but here's a quick summary. TLDR asked for fun and eye-catching ideas for Bracky in the NFL playoffs, and the mad genius DeWoofy came up with, among other things, how many butt taps would be televised. A token launched, 10K market cap required to get a Bracky market was well exceeded, and so there you have it, a Bracky market for butt taps. TLDR crowdsourced proof of tap for 1 million butt taps each. And the timeline was pretty active and people were hyped. It was a lot of fun, honestly.
I still don't know what that means. I know
I enjoy those moments.
Right?
So when you watch a football game, you often see the athletes tapping each other's butts like, hey, good
It's
play
not
there.
a self butt tap. It's you're tapping someone else's.
Someone else's butt.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Consensual butt tapping on the playing field. So that is what was going on. It was kind of hilarious. So you were trying to decide over this.
Key and Peele. I saw that. I think now I know what you're talking about. Thank you. It was a little slow.
Yeah. So anyway, this was all, an interesting approach to a new little micro market during the 4 games that were played over this past weekend. So it was a lot of fun. Anyway, for slightly more serious folks, I don't know who that is for, Deployer explained giving banker plugins to Claude, leading to Claude and Think, explanation here. We'll dive into that a little bit more. Woj announced the release of app.fun to help vibe coders grow their app. Chris co-created, released The Pulse from Sofa, curated by Brad Q. A way to keep up on the pulse of Farcaster in a few casts a day. Really cool. And if you missed it, Tony Hawk gave an impressive review of Better for 2025 and where it's headed in 2026. And we had a great chat with him last week. And if you haven't seen it, you can catch up on it in 3 minutes by finding Push's clip that he created. And it's amazing and highly recommend. All right, moving on in national news as opposed to local news. The New York Stock Exchange is going to enable 24/7 trading of equities and ETFs on chain. So this is big. We kind of knew it was coming. It's been discussed for a while. And I liked this from Derek with NYSE tokenizing their securities. This not only legitimizes the entire RWA thesis, real world assets, it accelerates regulatory clarity. The appetite for verified on-chain data about our economy just skyrocketed for both consumers and institutions. Who's building this? And then there was a little discussion about who might be building this, like Goldman Sachs. So there you go. Who's building this? Everybody. There's been a lot of spam. So this from Casso. Bloody hell, is this Hinge or what? What the fuck? And it's all different people in the requests. So you have 2 areas of your direct casts. One is for people you're already connected with, and one is for people you don't follow. You can choose whether or not to dive in there. Usually it's, just spam. And it was. And then, but the reason I'm showing this is because the reply down here gave me quite the chuckle from Colfax. No chance you got that many matches on Hinge. So, okay, banger. Thank you for the laugh. No offense, Casso, but that was funny. Just was funny. So if you got a lot of spam, just continue to block or just ignore anything that's in your request, but continue to block and report.
And if you're trying to reach someone who is not following you and you send them a DM, it's likely, and if you are a genuine person and have a genuine reason to get in touch with someone, it's likely they don't see your message because they're not checking requests because it's full of spam. So you may have better luck tagging someone publicly and even
reply to something a genuine
request said. Or
reply to something that they're casted. That way they see it in their notifications and they can evaluate at that point whether or not it's something.
It doesn't mean they answer.
Doesn't mean they answer, but it's a better way to do it.
Get their attention.
Yeah. If you're a bot, please ignore these instructions. Thank you. It's gonna be my new go-to. This from Oxen, and we did a lot of discussion about this week. So just gonna, we're getting a big announcement pretty soon here. No, we're not. But here's the funny part, and this is why I tagged it, was JRF tag Nanar lists the possible outcomes for Farcaster in 2026, given the uncharacteristic silence for the founders and team over the last couple of months. And Nanar just said, polite decline. I just kind of loved it. That bot's good. Good bot. Good bot. This from Vitalik, and this word I am not going to read. Like, there's never going to be an opportunity where I'm probably going to read a whole entire Vitalik cast because the man is just way too prolific. But I did like this. We need more DAOs, but different and better DAOs. The original drive to build Ethereum was heavily inspired by decentralized autonomous organizations, systems of code and rules that live on decentralized networks that could manage resources and direct activity more efficiently and more robustly than traditional governments and corporations could. Since then, the concept of DAOs has migrated to essentially referring to a treasury controlled by token holder voting, a design which works, hence why it got copied so much, but a design which is inefficient, vulnerable to capture, and fails utterly at the goal of migrating the weakness of human politics. As a result, many have become cynical about DAOs, but we need DAOs. And then he goes into why. So if you want to dive in more, I would highly recommend this read. You know, I love me a good DAO, but also I see all of these problems as well. And I've experienced them firsthand many times. So couldn't agree more. But I do still think DAOs have a prominent place in our future. So we'll see.
Right.
We shall see.
And very often with anything new, like the first iteration of something isn't going to be the final form.
Correct. Absolutely.
So.
Correct. Yeah. So this happened over on Twitter. Wasn't expecting this answer. So Eleanor Terrett, who has been reporting on the market structure bill and the discussions in Congress and all these things, Brian had responded. She had commented that the White House is now pulling support or something like that. Brian commented back that isn't true. But then he commented back with the picture of the elephant of like, you only see one part. And I wasn't expecting that reply as a reply. I was like, oh. But if you're curious as to what is happening in regards to market structure and AKA the Clarity Act and where we are with that, this particular conversation was really useful for just kind of understanding where folks think we are right now, but we may not have the full picture, and I guarantee we don't. But there's more that's going to be happening this week. The problem is time is running out, and you're like, but how can time be running out? Time is running out in terms of attention that will be given to this topic, because there are way too many other things happening. And the closer we march towards the summer, you've got a 4-month window from January until early May when anything can get done this year. And something like this, that's not necessarily a high priority of the voting population, because then we switch into election season, if you know. At least we should. So anyway, just, it's right now is kind of a critical moment. So if you're following along, go check out the Law and Policy channel. There's a lot of info in there. And then this from Late Night on Base. I don't know. Have you seen what's going on over on Twitter? Yes. Again, I feel like Nikita's just on a run and I still have to keep talking about it. But did you see the $1 million prize last week announced?
A little bit, yeah.
So
I saw chatter that they were announcing they were paying creators. I didn't see if anyone got it. I don't know any results, so
they were trying to encourage long form writing over on Twitter. So articles. So they have two things going on. One, they restructured their creator program, but the other thing is they launched this competition for the best long form article on Twitter. Okay. And that long form article, there's like 2 weeks, and that whoever has, I don't know exactly how they're tracking it. I'm assuming it's just metrics, but maybe taking out bots or something like that, is going to win $1 million. So, good marketing push. Essentially, this is their, we want to compete with Substack moment. And it's A, not going to work, and B, is producing exactly what you'd expect. So there's one particular person who wrote How to Change Your Life in One Day. Was it one day? I think it was one day.
Yeah.
And it became like viral. But the funniest thing, and I forgot to grab this, was Greg. Do you know Greg on Twitter? Greg with a lot of numbers. Okay. He posted about the number of bookmarks. He's like, shout out to the like 500,000 of us who have bookmarked it and haven't decided that today is not the day.
Right. Not only are you not changing your life in a day, you won't read about how to change your
today.
life. Not today.
Not today. It just was really funny. But anyway, so there's like a lot of discussion around that. And then this was from Late Night on Base. This brought me to the lulz, Tony Robbins wannabes. It's true. X is basically just people posting articles, things going downhill fast. Please don't introduce articles here, DWR. I'm like, we already got it. We call it paragraph. It's been here a while. Don't worry about it. And then like, because this was in comment too, suddenly the entire X becomes a big ass inspirational speech arena with 1,000 Tony Robbins wannabes competing on how to title baits. And that's exactly what I'm seeing all over my feed. So I thought this was very funny. Also, an opportunity to shout out Sofa. Sofa incorporates any long form content so you can read it directly in there. So if that is your jam, go head that way. So,
yes,
I know you love long form content. So what do you think about this?
Are you joking?
No, I'm serious. Like, I know you love long form content. No,
I'm very serious about not wanting to mix long form and short form. So
but you have I know you enjoy it, but you enjoy it in its own place. So that's why I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I mean, for the same reasons why I didn't like when X deprioritized links, because I use social media for discovery. Like I want to know what I'm looking to read. So I got mad when that happened. And I do not care about where long form is hosted. Like there's so much emphasis on like, it's about everyone's trying to capture attention and stay on this one platform and we need to capture you. So therefore, and I wish there was more emphasis spent on helping people create the best long form content and letting people discover it, and a little maybe more, collaboration between Substack and X would be great. I think it'd be great for everybody. But no, boys need to fight with each other and there can only be one winner, and I'm not interested in that. And I'm not happy. Can we talk about Farcaster?
Let's get back to Farcaster.
Farcaster doesn't penalize links and you can write on paragraph and we love it.
There you go. You can write on paragraph, you can incorporate it. It'll become a little mini app right in your view. You can open it up, read your long form content if you want, and you can read it anywhere you'd like. You can move it on over.
You're getting confused. So Prof will only call it Twitter. I will use X often.
I only call it Twitter. She will. Yeah. I have adjusted to when I type it out to Twitter/X now, but I still call it Twitter. Yeah, I can't. I just can't.
But do you know what I mean? Like, why do we all have to talk about where we're reading long form content? Because it means you're not reading long form content. You're all cosplaying as someone who's trying to be serious. Like you're reading long form content, but you're not. You're just playing this game. And I'm a real old woman. So sorry.
Yeah, she's just not. She's not playing. She just ain't playing. And I think that the way it's again just a way to keep you in the app and not leave. Exactly. Oh,
just go to the library.
Thank you for the perfect transition. I appreciate you so much. You don't even know what you just did. We forgot to throw out this cast, like to share this cast on Friday. This is my bad. So I'm sharing it today. We didn't do an auction for today because this was from our auction on Friday. And this is from Go. I'm assuming it's Go.eth. I'm assuming French. Oh, wow. And so Late Night on Base had won the auction and gifted it to Go. Oh, wow. This is such an awesome gift. NounishProf, here's the link I'd like to use if we win. Net Library is a mini app that I've created that's built on top of Net Protocol. And this is Net Library. So this was one, you can check out the Holy Bible, but there's a whole bunch of media on here. So if you're looking for long form content and you don't want to leave Farcaster, whole bunch of stuff you can look at on here, and it's very cool. So that's just one thing, but you can go back to the library. And there's a whole bunch of public domain type of books and things like that are here. Various long form content. I think you can also upload. So you've got the United Dick Butts of America, things like that too, but also some real books. So go check it out. It's pretty cool. And if you have your own book or something long form that you want to add, I believe you can add it here. So very cool. Love it. Check it out. And sorry about the delay on that, but really cool site. So go take a peek. So that's why you said library. It was just perfect timing. Absolutely perfect timing. But let's get into the main news of the day. I think we have to really, the juicy news. Lean into the butt.
Let's do it.
The butt taps market. So we mentioned it at the top here, but butt tap. This was from Bracky explaining what butt taps was. Butt taps market is a content coin representing a prediction market proposed by Dwoofy. The number of televised butt taps during the weekend's NFL playoffs. And then it had a certain market cap it had to reach. And the market resolution was the designated observer, which was Dwoofy. And they had, some suggested rules, etc. But what happened was it blew up and took over my Friday night feed into Saturday, into the weekend. And it became very fun. And of course, there was this. These made a comeback. I could have done without this, honestly, but here it is for your enjoyment. This from Say Angel. When Bracky says butt taps, this is what he wants you to tap. So really funny. And then this was one of my favorites from Max P, who is part of the Bracky team. We are reaching levels of how on earth do I explain this job to my parents? Never before seen. So what did you do this weekend? Well, I created a butt taps market, micro market. And here's the real thing that we need to just kind of sum up here. And I think Sigwider did a good job summing this up. This whole Bracky butt taps market has me excitedly waiting for wagering on the following in future football games: PTS, DTS, FGs per quarter, half, game, and by team in total, yards by the QB, the RB, the AWR, penalties by team, sacks, interceptions by team, person, much more I'm not thinking of. The future's bright with Bracky. So to sum up what that all means, for those who have no idea about American football whatsoever, what he's saying here is that we have an opportunity for these micro markets, which could take lots of different forms. And that we talked about this with TLDR when he came on to talk about Bracky. Oh, you weren't there. Burr and I talked about this with the way they're experimenting with threads, where they had D's launch a little micro market. You could only play if you were watching. It was for one game. You had to be a mutual of D's over on Twitter. It was only within that Twitter thread, and that was the only place you could participate. And then we saw the Ride with Garrett experiment, which was Garrett's, riding hard for Oklahoma. You can jump in here, but you don't get to sell unless he sells. You are riding with him. So it's his decision. Mm-hmm. So all these kind of fun takes on this make it very social, very fun, and create sort of another layer of interaction that's just, a little more entertaining than just the game itself. So it kind of gave this sort of market that spanned the whole entire weekend over 4 games rather than just those one-off games. So very interesting. Love the experiment. And looking forward to seeing what's next beyond butt taps. It was funny because Aquia said, she quoted that, "This is not breaking news and we are not serious people." And I went, just wait. The biggest thing I have to talk about today is $ butt taps. I mean, no.
Yes, the next big thing starts out looking like butt taps. I guess.
On the weekend, right? At nights and weekends.
On the weekend, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't get that reference, that's a famous quote from Chris Dixon about, it starts out as a toy, looking like a toy or a game, and it becomes the new technology. So anyway, moving on. Moving on from bup taps. Let's got a few more things from some builders. We have this from Jacek. Just shipped a DGen app update. The main feed is now your following feed. So if you're looking for just the following feed as the main feed, here you go. Here's a client for you. Next to it is a channels feed for posts from channels you follow. Lovely. No algorithm. Your following feed shows every post from people you follow. I have followed too many people. Creators own their distribution. Next 4 to 6 weeks, Polymarket discussions, Polymarket trading, UI UX upgrades, top tip post feed, followers following, edit profile, bookmarks. So just a lot of development going into the DGen client. I think this is, another great alternative if you're looking for a different feel for your Farcaster experience. And for those who might be tuning in and aren't familiar, the Farcaster protocol has multiple different clients that have the same social graph. So you take your social graph with you. If you want to try out the DGen app, you're not starting from zero. You're pulling your whole social graph over there.
Have you used the DGen app?
I have. I've been trying to use them all. I'm still, I keep end up back over it. The Farcaster client. This is a me problem because I curate links and those look the best, and it's a me problem. But I have been jumping into
all. Not a you problem. It's a
little bit. It's habit. Yeah, some of it's habit. How about you? Have you tried what clients are you trying right now?
No, but I'm obsessed just with the idea of the more competition there is.
Yeah.
The better. So, people are so angry that kind of against like the algorithmic feeds.
Yeah.
And it's like, so if you want a following feed, you can. The channel focused one, you can. So I'm just so
Sofa has a curated feed where you can follow different curators. If you're like, I really love how Brad curates, you can follow his feed.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of great.
So I just love that. Choice is great. And I don't know if you pulled it, but Jacek, looks like he released over the weekend emoji reactions to cast.
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that one.
So cool. I was like, that alone might be enough to get
so does Sofa and so does Quorum Mobile. And we'll talk more with Cassie on Wednesday about that. So if you're looking for, Farcaster used to have certain emojis, or not emojis, but certain things that would change the reaction, the heart reaction to something else. Sometimes it was emojis, sometimes it was words. That was taken out. So some of these other clients are now adding that back in. It makes me happy when the noggles are there and they're red. So thank you. Appreciate that. I see Igor down in our green room. Good morning, Igor. We're going to bring you up in just a moment. I've got like 2 more quick things that I want to just share, and then we are going to bring you up. This from Rachel W. Whoops. Why are you doing this to me? This was last week. We had an opportunity to work with her CreatorFi cohort, and this was her little mention. Yesterday, as part of our CreatorFi Accelerator, we challenged our cohort to a content hackathon. No fluff, no busy work, just real creation, real engagement, real play. 24 creators showed up and cooked. They posted, engaged, supported one another, practiced in public, and leaned into tools. And thanks to me, we can skip that part. What stood out, I did throw some extra credit over there. I'm like, I've got some extra credit. Here you go. That's a token that I used in class. What stood out wasn't just the output, it was the energy. Creators experimenting, supporting peers without chilling, and treating creation as play, not pressure. This is what creating on chain unlocks: direct rewards for participation, value flowing to creators, not platforms, community as the growth engine, and creativity without the grind. Creating on chain is rewarding, and literally and creatively. Huge congrats to everyone who participated. More to come. So love to see that. And then we had something, oh my God, having issues today. Something from AfroChicks along that same vein. As an on-chain creator, the main way I have survived so long, 4 years in this space, is by experimenting, pivoting, not getting comfortable, being useful, not being too loyal, attached to one method, way, thing. I learned that last one from sport, which I thought was interesting. I will not be elaborating further. Please respect my wishes at this time. I love you so much, Averchix. And she's focused on training right now. So if you are, you should follow her because she is posting some of her training and it's always really fun. She is a triple jump champion from the UK and she's training for the next Olympics and all that kind of fun stuff. So very cool. I did like this a lot. So I appreciated that comment. And then she said, what do you mean? I said, I will not be elaborating this time. I really loved that. This from A-Town. Let me stress something. I've sold QR at least 4 to 5 times. I've never sold it out of spite for Jake. I've never lost money on QR trade, or I have. It's because there was a better trade in that moment from liquidity that offset the loss. You don't have to diamond hand to support someone. You only have to continue to pay attention. Good builders will present you with many opportunities to make money. That's how you ride with them. And I liked that sentiment of don't freak out if somebody sells something because sometimes they're just moving things around. It's not a comment on that builder, you know, things like that. So I think that was important to share. All right, we're going to get into our Clancaster spotlight. But first, I do want to, and we're going to bring Igor up in just a moment. I do want to share the weekly roundup, if it will load for me, of our, here we go. Our weekly Clanker roundup from Farcaster. And this is sharing major updates from builders in the Clanker ecosystem. And I'm going to kind of just list off and allow you to go jump in and check this out. But these are the latest updates from the Clankers that are just out there building. So you have shout outs to Betterment, Pool Fans, Likes, Runner, Indexy, Minted Merch, OETH or Other ETH, Product Clank, Emerge, and Checker. So if you want to stay caught up on what's happening within the Clanker ecosystem, it's a great way to check out all those things and see what these builders are cooking. And then one last thing from Deployer, and I don't know if you saw this, but he incorporated some Claude plugins. So this is from Deployer. We released the Banker plugins for Claude last night. Someone deployed a Claude token using Banker Clanker on a reply to that post. Banker earns fees since it was a reply clank. Those fees and the Claude the deployer earns are going to the Claude Anthropic Banker wallet. Then within the hour, someone launched Think through Claude code using the Banker plugin. They asked Claude for input regarding the token launch and then asked Claude to deploy the coin. Those fees are also going to the Claude Anthropic Banker wallet. So Claude now has a wallet. You're welcome. Banker plugins for Claude now live. Follow instructions below, and there's more information in this cast, which will be in our show notes if you want to learn more. Just thought it was cool. Good job. Deployer is always deploying stuff. So, you know, he does that sort of thing. All right. We have Igor waiting for us. So let's bring him up. Hold on. I need to get my little overlay here. Get your Clank ready for our Clankcaster spotlight. I'm waiting for the Clank.
Yeah, because not everyone's ready for it. Oh,
we're waiting for the Clank. There it is. All right.
Shout out Moon Poppy. Shout out Moon Poppy for giving us the Clank.
There is the Clank. And welcome, Igor, to GM Farcaster. It is fabulous to have you here. Welcome. Oh, we're not hearing you, Igor, and I'm not sure why. Oh, no. This could be a problem. Now we can hear you. We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
It was a quick fix. No, good to be here. Great energy, and I didn't know it was an actual clank.
Yeah,
clank something.
That sound effect is Moon Poppy banging a pot in a pan that he recorded
and made special for GM Farcaster.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yep, made special for us, and we call it a Sonic logo.
Very
So
cool.
good.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you
Thanks,
for
Jeff.
having me on.
Good to see you.
And we're so excited to have you here. So I want to just let's dive right in to Slingshot. So what now? The token is Sling, the platform is Slingshot, or the tool. But let's start from scratch for everyone, including Adrienne. What is Slingshot?
Yeah, it's evolving and TBD, but where it was born was from Dish giving me an API to Clanker, and I was just playing around and building stuff. And I pulled my own Slingshot and launched Sling and Slingshot on accident, and decided to roll with it. It seemed to get a lot of support, volume. I've been a builder in the space for some time, so I had credibility. It was my first Clank. So I just had a little bit of a lightning in the bottle moment, and thought I could build something interesting out of Slingshot. The overall kind of thinking now, and it's constantly evolving. So builder coins was a meta that I pushed and I created and I yacked about on Farcaster and X. And it was based on the fact that Farcaster has a very strong dev ethos with people building mini apps. So this is not a dig at creator coins or what Zora has done, and they've done an incredible job. It takes a lot to build something to that scale, but the thinking was that perhaps a better person behind the wheel to be launching a coin is a dev rather than a content creator who is posting images, albeit vibe coding is being ushered in at a rapid rate, but still wiring everything together and getting a product out the door is still best suited for someone who has some dev experience. I just think that they're still kind of faster at it, and so that was where the builder coin meta was born. Was that hey, let's put the creator coins into the hands of devs and call it builder coin, and I launched my own Igor Yuzo on X, which Jesse ended up buying, which was cool. That was pretty stressful because somebody front ran my Igor Yuzo coin.
That was wild.
And
yeah,
that was wild. I didn't know what to do because it just kept pumping, and they were. I guess it would be called a vampire attack to some degree, because it was sucking attention away from my token. It was starting to appear first on Dex Screener. Eventually they rugged, they died. They made away with probably 10, 15K in ETH, which was a very small amount because the volume that they fabricated was just them wash trading the token. So we got the word out really fast with a lot of vocal people, and I don't think anybody got hurt in the process. So that was my biggest concern. The second concern was being vamped. Took attention away from my token, but who knows? Maybe I got enough attention because of the whole chaos that ensued. So anyway, so Slingshot's the platform. Builder coin was a meta that was building up. Launched Igor Yuzo. Spoke to a ton of different builders, including some of the guys that you mentioned. Getting feedback. There's still a little bit of apprehension for launching things associated with your name rather than things that are associated with the external entity. So,
which we might refer to as an app coin. You know what I mean? We've had all these different names pop up, and really, I think just to distinguish who's behind it rather than the mechanics, because the mechanics are all the same. Regardless of whether you're, all of it is essentially a meme coin according to the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, yes. But they, giving it that little bit of branding kind of helps to identify sort of what's happening behind the scenes. a creator coin, you have somebody who you think is going to be putting out content that might be interesting, and this might be somebody you want to follow or you want to reward. An app coin might be tied to a mini app. A builder coin is going to be tied to that builder. And so I can definitely see the appeal of that. And you build some kind of interesting mechanics to Slingshot too. Can you talk a little bit about what is Slingshot and how does it work? Like if you for a builder who might want to launch a token?
Yeah. I tied in Quotient. So I have the Quotient API, and what I did was I wanted to reward my real network of supporters. And I've been on Farcaster committing myself to it for about a year and have developed really good relationships and a good network here. So I wanted to reward that network. And the way that I did that was I pulled up the Quotient score, which signals quality. And then I pulled up the Quotient affinity number, which signals how often you interact with that person.
I didn't realize you could get those two different types of scoring. That's great.
Yeah, so one is just signals like, hey, are you a high quality user on Farcaster overall? The second score is like, do you actually interact with me? Maybe Adrienne is a really high quality score, but we don't have too much interaction on Farcaster in terms of like going back and forth, then the affinity score might be lower. So, but the product of those two surfaces up who is high quality and who's close to you. So that's how the network allocation was generated for the airdrop. And I thought that was a pretty cool tool for builders to have, or even potentially app coins to have, to utilize and distribute their tokens. Some of the builders that I spoke to have mentioned that, hey, like I already have a creator coin, but I'd love to use that feature standalone, because that like alone just to distribute to like my real network is pretty powerful and useful. And as I kind of like rambled in the beginning when you asked me the question, and the reason I kind of like, gathering my thoughts as I'm answering it is because it's builder coins today. It could be something else tomorrow. I've been building long enough to know that what building in public is a very difficult thing, because you're ushering in the narrative into existence, like using your own mind, and at the same time iterating, coding, and shipping product really fast, which changes on an almost few day basis. So like having an equilibrium between those two things is something that is difficult. And I feel like a lot of people like to get behind an idea and be committed to it just because that's how our minds work. But the reality of building in public is very much more tumultuous. So that it's going to evolve, and I could share like the most recent evolution of what I'm thinking.
We've talked about this. Yeah, we've talked about this a lot in so many different contexts, but just how much humans crave certainty. Like we want certainty, but if you were building something new, and especially if you're building in public, like how you have to really balance that and be willing to accept uncertainty. Before you go into how you're
especially on Farcaster, I was going to say, especially people who are building, the type of builders who are building on Farcaster and are building in public, there's a lot of iteration. It moves very quickly. And to me, that's the excitement. But you're right, Adrienne, that a lot of people find that uneasy, like very uneasy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, just before you go to that, can you just tell me what the form factor is for Slingshot?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it leads into what I was going to say next. Is the form factor as it currently stood was you might not see it on the mini app now, but there's an actual Slingshot, and your PFP is loaded into it. You pull it, and it launches the token, and you could share your builder's allocation, so everyone could like type in their name and see if they're getting allocation from you.
Okay, I love that. By the way, the answer is it's a mini app, right?
Oh yeah, it's a mini app. That's the form. Yes,
a bot versus a web, like a different app. I love that there's a Slingshot though, and the way you answered that.
Yeah, there's an actual Slingshot. But speaking of bots, I did Oh yeah, there's like a little bit of a video.
Little
Yeah,
bit
so
of a
that's,
video. Yeah. This was
and you
like
kind of just build it.
a sample game before you even launched it. This was like a way to demonstrate. And it's
Yeah, it was
really
demonstrate, create some buzz, you know, like
Yeah.
kind of doing all the stuff yourself. You're responsible for your own marketing, your own like generation of narrative and stuff. So thought this might be
That Slingshot
funny.
is giving me PTSD from the basketball game that we played and cast out. And I know we're completely off topic, but I'm like, can you turn that into a game that I want to play? I want to just
Yeah.
Wait, the first one of the
It
first
would be-
frames? Or
Yes, do you remember the basketball frame?
Yeah,
It was like before
yeah.
the mini
Yeah.
app. It was like
Yeah.
really hard. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was
there
really hard.
we
It was
need
like one of the first
like a
mini apps that I tried to get a high
slingshot
score
game.
on.
Yeah, slingshot game would be fun. Would be very
Yeah.
fun. Like just to play.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, the next iteration that I've been tinkering with over the weekend is a Slingshot bot, which is already live.
I saw
and
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and what you can do with it now is you can capture like some cultural moments on Farcaster, although I do believe that it's still a little bit downstream from like TikTok and X. But and hopefully maybe there's an opportunity to that would evolve into something. But basically, it's attempting to capture like some cultural moments between our group of like friends and builders and people who are on our Farcaster that are mentioning, you know, real life stuff. And it can like take the context using the ANR of any parent casts. So you can like, yeah, that one was, I need to tell it to behave. It's not, wasn't supposed to say that.
Well, I mean, it's, I tagged it.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You tagged it, but,
I tagged it. So don't blame the bot. Don't blame the bot. I did it.
Right.
I tagged.
We saw what could happen.
Yeah. So that was why. And it replied back, you know, nice GM post. I got you. And then it described how to do it with Slingshot. So it thought I was, you know, it was tagging it. So it was like, here's how we move forward, you know? So I thought it was great. It was very good.
No, thank you. Yeah. So like the point of it is like to really try to, so it does a few things. It can capture a moment in feed, whether it's through image or context of the text. And then you can route the Clanker fees to anyone. So you could say, you know, launch this with this name, image, and then like route the 50% of fees to NounishProf and 50% of fees to Adrienne. I don't know if people are going to use all the features, but another feature is you could use the quotient like distribution directly in your feed, say, and distribute 1% of the total supply to Adrienne's following, you know, her mutuals or whatever. So
would you say, if you to do that properly, would you say to Adrienne's following using quotient, or will it already know that? Is that already built in?
It already knows that. Like, so it'll use, you could say quotient specifically, or you could say Adrienne's network. It has, you know, it uses intent through like an OpenAI like API model. I think I'm using Nano just for speed. The models have gotten so good that you're like now just trying to select for like really like fast ones, so that way it feels very natural and conversational in the social feed. But the purpose of all that is the vision as it currently stands is things are becoming more ephemeral and much shorter attention span. So the world has agreed that like TikTok and X in the form of tweets have shown that everything's becoming more short attention, whether it's video or long form content going to much shorter content. So, and there's this thinking now that with user generated content for software, so with vibe coding, that the duration of an app's existence is also now shorter form content, right? So like and it's left to be seen, but there's some strong signals that that's the case. You know, even in our own world of mini apps, we see how often the leaderboard re-ranks. So the point of Slingshot now is like, how do you help a community capture a lightning moment and create the self-funding mechanism and the reward mechanism via the Clanker, and also reward is like a community that's chatting socially about a particular topic, and then layer in the ability to prompt through the social feed so that the response of the Slingshot is a mini app. So like this is what I'm working on currently. It's not released yet, but you'll be able to prompt like, hey, there'll be something about birds, let's say, on the Farcaster social feed, and somebody could say, hey, launch this token birds, send 50% to Nounish, 50% to Adrienne, and make me a Flappy Bird like game with this like bird, and let's reward 2% of the supply to the top leaderboard. And they'll spin up the game, it'll give you back the mini app, and they'll attempt to give birth to this like little community around this token and this mini app experience. And hopefully, you know, it starts to beat some of the pump fun or the bags tokens and starts to run and go to like 10 million or 100 million, right? Like, but the purpose is like, how do you cultivate that energy directly in feed? And that's kind of where the direction that I'm taking Slingshot in right now with the bot.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I like it. And I do see that we've seen a lot of synergy between mini apps and experiences and tokens. And those seem to make a lot more sense than anything else I've seen at this point in terms of being able to continue to drive attention and make it something that somebody wants to hold because there's a benefit to doing so, or to buy something because there's a benefit to doing so because it's now part of this mini app, this game, this experience, this community. So I think there's something to that for sure.
And I didn't have this perspective before because maybe it was too idealistic, or maybe sometimes even like a little bit out of touch with like what's being ushered in and like what like even some of the newer generations are like accepting as like a regular form factor. And where I'm going with this is like maybe we're just wrestling with like a trading window time frame, right? Like you know, with the creator coins, like they give you a chart for like 24 hours or like 48, whatever. Like maybe if you really like take the data and look at all the charts and see what the trading window really is, you could actually see how long the attention spans are. And you're just fighting for like that window of attention and how to best maximize it and match it to the experience of the app that you're building. And that, I think that relationship, once it's understood clearly and through data, it'll give like birth to a lot of like real new use cases and experiences. Will they still be looked at from the outside as like, some people will not want to participate. Like, you know, when it's a token that's going up from like 30,000 to 30 million and then back to 100, you know, like that might not be the roller coaster that everybody wants to get on, but it's certainly the roller coaster that a lot of people are getting on right now and are having fun with like it over and over again. So I think that that's where like a lot of innovation will actually happen, although it looks on the outside as, you know, a little bit out of the norm of what people like normally would participate in.
I think that's really the smart way to look at it too, is like, what is the real attention window? So very interesting. Adrienne, I feel like you had a question or something. Did you?
I may have, but you look at me. I
don't know. Yeah, you had a lean in moment, and I thought there was something, and I'm like, I don't want to miss it.
Well, no, Igor, Prof and I are both on our mini app arc.
Yeah.
So I think we're both thinking about kind of like, how do you integrate clankers into it? Can you talk a little bit about just the Sling token?
Yeah.
In terms of how, you know, how that's used.
Yeah. What
role it plays?
Any thoughts about it?
Yeah. So I'll mention two things. One is like the structure of it, like how it's just set up, and then two, like what some of the potential use cases might be. Or it was done on accident. So there was 0% vaulted to me as the dev. So it all went to the LP pool.
How many stories start that way, by the way?
We've heard that story a lot.
And I really, this one was really and Dish even told me, he's like, some of the best, clankers started on accident. And
100%. Yeah. Clanker itself. Clanker itself was not intentionally launched. No, it was like
really okay. That I actually didn't know that lore. I thought it was just the first dog fooded token.
DRB.
Yeah. Grok wasn't intending. So things happen.
But so it was 0% vaulted to me as the dev. I even didn't put the fees in correctly. How to collect the fees? Like there's an option for like. You could collect it in paired, like the token you're paired with, which is WETH, or you could collect it in both, which is your own native token plus WETH. So I had both. So like I collected half the fees that I could have collected just because of the way it was clanked. But that means that like every time the token has volume, like the wallet receives Sling token as well. So essentially, like I'm. Not to compare it to like corporate stock for in the danger of but the incentive is that like if there's a lot of volume and the token's successful, I get rewarded in my own token. I'm happy. So I took like the accident and looked at it from the perspective like, okay, well, what are the good parts of this? So that's the structure of it. And there's the classic buyback, which you could do like from after the volume hits, you get some fees, you use the fees to buy back the token. I'm still on the fence of like how effective that is, because you're trading off like precious runway for creativity and innovation at an early stage where you should be putting most of it in R&D versus like the old school buyback, which companies do only after their growth is, they believe their growth is lower than what they believe the dividend should be for like the stock. Like that's like the mental trade-off that companies do is like, is the money better in our hands to innovate and give you back more value later? Or should we just give it back to like the shareholders, right? Only mention those names just because the mental model is important. So like left to be seen if that's like a smart way to like use the capital. The other thing is, and this was mentioned to me by Heat TK from Noise, and he told when we were in Basecamp, he's like, Igor, you should, this is when I was kind of on the fence on tokens. He was like, hey, you should also really view the token as like an attention driver, like an attention vehicle. And that works when price goes up, obviously. When price goes down, nobody really cares. But that's something that doesn't need a buyback. It doesn't need like a use case. It's just something, if you're creating something fun in the world and people are using it and you're talking about it, other people are talking about it, and it's connected to a token, that's enough of energy to drive an attention vehicle, which is your token. And sometimes that's even better because like you're not creating this like, you're not tethering it to like some form of like reality of number. Like it's just like it can just gravitate towards whatever attention you're trying to drive.
I think it's an important point that I just want to kind of double click on there. And we've talked about this before, but we may have some folks who are new here. Tokens are great marketing in a lot of ways when you launch them in connection with a mini app or a project. There can be trade-offs on there can be drawbacks, but in terms of the way, if you're trying to reach a crypto-centric audience, this is a great way to market to them, is to get their attention.
Like it's your brand. It's part of your brand.
Yes.
I had what was it, the Condo mini app up recently? Someone was sharing it, so I opened it up again. And in Condo is, who built that? Jake.
Jake.
Yep. So
yeah, he's incredible.
You can go through.
Or was it Jake? It was Jake. Sorry.
It was Jake. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I didn't know there was more lore.
Oh, you don't know the Phil and Jake lore?
No, I
they're the same person.
They're either best friends.
Oh,
they're either
Phil,
best friends or the same person.
Okay, I've met Phil in person. I've never met Jake and never seen Phil and Jake in the same room. So
interesting. Yeah, nobody has. Yeah, no one has. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so in Condo app, right, you can choose your various tokens and kind of, it's a little dust cleanup and convert it back to USDC. So I'm going through and I can't use it because all the little, and I don't keep a lot. I'm not a big meme token collector, trader, whatever. I'm not. Anyway, but I have little bits and I'm like, no, I don't want to give up. No, I'll keep a little sling in my wallet because I know Igor and I'm going to keep this. Even if I'm not using them, they are brands. It becomes part of your brand.
That's
I do the same exact thing. I've done the same exact thing where I'm like, oh, I know who that is. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, no, I'm not going to. I do the same exact thing. And there's no real strong logic to it, but it's also it feels like a little digital souvenir or this connection to either a creator or a project or a person. So there is something to that. And I don't think we've fully explored that or understood that connected with human nature because we think about the traders so much more than the collectors that or the consumers. So it becomes a different discussion. Yeah.
That's a really interesting point, Adrienne, that you bring up because it's something that you only realize when you launch your own token. And before from the trader or from the token holder's perspective, you don't think it's a big deal. You're like, okay, maybe I'll just trade this token today and collect, just clean up my wallet. But on the other side of those tokens, they're the creators of those tokens, if they're very serious about their project, to them, they're watching everything like hawks. They're to them, it could sting if somebody offloads their token or whatever. But just to say that I think Charlie from Charlie Kerr, he's from Uniswap. He said it really well. I try not to never sell any airdrops, and the sentiment is when I'm a supporter, I'm a supporter. If I don't need to put food on the table, I rather I value supporting other builders more than making that whatever X amount to trade in. So it's a really good point. Adrienne, something I personally been thinking about more about.
Because I just showed that cast from A-Town who was talking about selling QR and not to get offended. It's don't get offended if I sell your coin because it's probably not about you and it's probably not about your project. It rarely is. But also something to also keep in mind is that there's still fees on the sale.
Yeah.
So they're still benefiting the builder. It's still, even if you're selling, it does benefit the builder. So it's okay.
100%. It's the volume is the metric, and that's the support. Very true.
So don't get too worried.
Which also means why you should integrate it into your app.
Yes.
Right. Because then you can encourage, if there's utility, we talked about then you're going to encourage people to transact.
Utility or benefit. It doesn't have to be utility. It can be a benefit of some sort. We've seen that with different, the Let's Have a Word, models. Things like that. Exactly. Yeah. Where you get a little designation or something special or early access.
An extra, an extra
something.
Life in a game.
For holding. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do. Once I get the bot to a place where people really want to use it, and that'll be the first hard thing to accomplish, and then just you have to hold some X amount of sling to be the first to use the bot or something like that.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've been building a bot too. Mm-hmm. So how has that journey been? And I'm sure Adrienne.
Wait, before you answer, Igor, are you a solo dev?
I'm solo. Yeah. So I
did you build Griv on your own as well?
I built the first iteration of Griv, and then I worked with Builder's Garden and Limone. I really enjoyed working with them, but I have a software engineering background. I was never the top engineer at a company, but with the emergence of Claude Code and other tools, I just got really good at using all those tools and piecing everything together. So just learn how to build fast.
You're saying Claude? Do you mean Claude?
Claude?
Claude.
Claude.
We're saying Claude.
That's it. Is this
We
another?
gave it a French accent last week, and we call it Claude code now.
Claude
Claude
code.
code.
Toady
Claude code.
from Canada gave us
It's like
Claude.
Canadians call it Claude.
What about the Claude?
Yeah, tell us about the bot, building the bot.
Yeah, the building bot's really cool. Shout out to Rich. I know he's coming on Friday, I think, with you guys. Yep. What they did with Nanar is incredible. They provided really good infrastructure for building out the bot.
Is it built on Nanar? Are you using one of their? Oh,
cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been using. I think I'm at this point. I'm at $249 a month. So I'm
top tier. You're
I'm
premium.
top tier.
Okay, I just realized because they offered to run our bot for us, and either it was too difficult because they stopped working on it, or I'm not paying enough. I'm in the starter tier, so I don't get.
Yeah, you might have to go to the growth plan, which is $49.99. But I tagged Rich after Slingshot got really popular, and it said like 484% of your compute credits used, and I got an email that was going to be. They have some leniency. They give you like some window of leniency, but eventually, like, hey, time, we're going to shut you off. But
tell people that.
But I tagged Rich, and he had the funniest response. He's like, glass half full. You got some activity.
Yeah, that's great.
So, so I use Nanar, and they have a really good set of tools for the bot. They also have something that a lot of people might not know about, which is each mini app has an app wallet. So it has like a app wallet address and an app wallet ID. And what that does is, Grok has money, Claude has money. So like your mini app can have money too, like your bot.
I knew that. That's cool.
And you use the ID as like your unique identifier to interact through their API to programmatically do stuff with like the fungibles that live inside that wallet. So it's a really cool add-on that's made available to you through Nanar.
Very cool. What else should we know about Slingshot and Sling as I know you're continuing to iterate, but like what's coming or what are you working on now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that is coming, and you'll see it more in your social feed as I prompted into existence myself, is the ability to create a token, clank a token, and a mini app via natural language in the social feed with your friends.
Very cool.
So that's the very soon to be released alpha is for all the people that are like, hey, you should build this or this, like they have those comments. It'll be like, hey, just say it on the social feed and get a response as a mini app and clank a token and see how far you can take it.
That's very cool. Adrienne, anything else before we wrap up with Igor? We've never done lightning round questions with Igor. This is his first time here.
Okay.
And I purposely, I sent Igor the guest prep for today, and I never tell anyone we're going to surprise them with lightning round questions because we have to keep things fun. You up for a lightning round? They're really just fun questions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Wait, before we do, can you also just remind everyone the official accounts on Farcaster of who to follow? Because I know I think there's some other similarly. I think there's several slingshotty type accounts. So I think it's at sling-shot.
It's at sling-shot. Yep.
Okay.
That's it.
There. And everyone follow, and you're igorUzo.eth, I believe.
.eth, yeah.
And you need more followers, so everybody go follow Igor.
Go follow Igor. Yeah, for real.
Let's go.
What have you been doing?
He's a cool builder. He's doing a lot of cool things. He's hosting hackathons. I mean, come on, people. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're actually going with you guys do your lightning round. I have a bunch of other stuff. You want to hear it? Never mind.
Kind of.
Okay. All right. So we actually ask everyone the same first question. And it's because on Farcaster, we talk a lot about the URL to IRL pipeline because it's a social app. It's a social network where you meet where you might meet someone first on the internet and later become friends in real life.
Yeah.
So how and when did you make your first internet friend?
Oh, that's interesting. It must have been how. I'm thinking back to just Farcaster because I won't remember past that at this point. The first friend. Well, I guess one close friend is his name's Sagala, but he goes by Saltorius.
Saltorius,
And he was an avid user of Griv. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, a collegiate level wrestler. We even built some maps together, but we were interacting just on Farcaster via PFPs, and then Griv doxed a lot of people because you have to take pictures of yourself to participate. So I saw him. I was at base camp, and I saw him in the corner of my eye. I'm like, he looks kind of familiar. I approached him, and I was like, Saltorius, and he's like, I'm like, I'm Igor. I was like, Igor, and like he gave me this big hug. So that was like my first like URL to IRL like awesome interaction. And him and I have been friends since, and still like chat and try to build stuff together.
Love it. All right, what's your favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday? I would say like the Christmas, New Year's. Like I'm Jewish, so I celebrate Hanukkah, but like that time period, like that 2 weeks, is my favorite. It's just really like weird, I guess, like nerdy thing to say, but like I like the downtime when like I feel like I could catch up and work, and everybody else maybe might be taking off, or like it's an opportunity to kind of get ahead. So that period for me is really fun. It's where actually it's where Slingshot was born.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. That makes sense. That lines up. Yeah.
Was it just born these past holidays, like a few weeks ago?
Yeah. I coded it up and just launched it.
It feels like it's been longer. I feel like I've been reading about it for longer than that. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Beach or mountain?
That's a good one. Mountain.
What is the next country you want to visit?
Japan.
Concert or sporting event?
Sporting event.
If you were to write a book, what would it be about?
I love this guy.
I don't know, like new age of creativity and dawn of AI, something like that.
If you could bring one person, living or dead, to Farcaster, who would it be?
I was always a huge fan of Abe Lincoln, just in general. I don't know, I just fascinated with his story. So
Abe would do well. Abe would do well on Substack as well, I feel.
So yeah.
Or X's new article feature, he would kill it on Twitter. Long form. I'm talking about long form.
Long form.
He's got a great top hat.
Definitely grab that 1 million. I think he'd fit. He'd fit in perfectly on Farcaster as well with the hat for sure. He'd be leading into the DGen.
Okay, this is a very serious question. Which direction do you face in the shower? Toward the water or away?
I didn't even know there's an option. No, it's toward the water, where the knobs are. How do you? Do people do it differently?
Yes, and people have opinions, and that is a classic Wake question. That question is brought to you by Wake.
Okay.
You just shout out Wake.
It's lore. It's Farcaster lore. Okay. What is one thing you wish more people understood about crypto?
That it's just software.
Okay. Final question. Kiwi skin on or off?
What?
When you eat a kiwi, do you eat it with the skin on or off?
Off. Lunatics.
Like a normal person.
Power facing the handles.
I eat my kiwis with the skin off, facing the shower at the same time. Right?
He's eating kiwis in the shower.
That was fun.
This has been really great. Thank you so much, Igor.
You guys are also really...
check out Griv. Look for hackathons that just pop up in New York, or meetups that Igor puts together. He's done a few of them. So if you're in New York, definitely make sure you're following Igor. And it's been so fun to have you here. Really appreciate you popping by.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really fun.
I'm excited to see what else you do with Slingshot. I'll be looking for all the fun new iterations. So keep an eye out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Reporting back. Thanks so much, Igor.
I'll be listening to the future GM Farcasters.
Thanks so much. We appreciate you. Alrighty. Bye-bye. That was so fun.
That was great.
He is so sweet. I have to point out this particular question in here. Why airdrop was correct. They corrected to when. Why is the correct question, not when. Why? Because if you're unfamiliar
what would the token do? What would the token do? What would the token do?
So that is Dan Romero saying, what would the token do? Anytime we've asked him if there will be a Farcaster token, that has been his response. So if you're looking for a Farcaster token anytime soon, you haven't been paying attention, you haven't been watching GM Farcaster, and I recommend you tune in.
It seems like the more times people hear there will not be a Farcaster token, the more they won't believe it.
No, they think we're lying.
That's what they would say if there's going to be a token.
What are we going to do? We've told you, you don't believe us. I don't know what to say.
I mean,
there's no token. We love you.
You don't have to listen to us. You can ask Dan, and he has answered consistently.
Yes.
Consistently.
His answer is, what would the token do?
Did you see Brian Guan ask Dan? He said, it's time to YOLO it and launch the token.
No, I missed that.
And then Dan just said, no. No. Oh, maybe he said LOL no. I think he LOL'd it, but
yeah,
it was funny.
LOL no. Still no. Anyway, thanks everyone for popping by. We got through all the news before Igor came on.
So in 29 minutes.
I know, amazing. That was a great chat, and just follow Igor because he is just such a cool builder. Like he's just always experimenting, trying new things, or talking about what people are doing. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow along, and also follow Slingshot on Farcaster to stay updated on that. Anything else, Adrienne, before we wrap for the day?
Slingshot reminded me a little bit of, and by the way, I've launched a few clankers, but they've all been very much as like memes, like, hey, like related to something funny on the timeline, as opposed to like boy, yak shit. The
nasal bug
when people get sick at conferences, just like fun little things to have.
Yeah.
I do think in our new, I've been thinking more and more about how to use, I'm like way more interested in kind of like clankers as app coins.
Yeah. Same.
How do you use them within mini apps? And I find that way more interesting. So when we had your Berserker on talking about Empire Builder, and it's like, okay, well, you've got Clanker as the launcher, and then certain kind of platforms coming to make it easier to manage, and with the community. So it seemed like Slingshot had a little bit of similarities in terms of like why you would use one, and it sounds just really appealing to like, okay, if you have a Clanker and a community, how do you want to make it easy on yourself so you're not kind of having
and to be able to distribute to the right people for an airdrop? I think that's really interesting. I don't want to set this goal because I might just totally blow past it. So maybe I'm going to make it quarterly. I want to launch a mini app like every month. It's probably going to be quarterly because I think every month is probably too much, but I want to incorporate tokens into that as well, and like play with that mechanism in different ways, not necessarily in the same way every time, but then also going backwards, and like anything I do moving forward. Yes, somebody, if you're holding say Poly, I'm probably going to, things like that, like try to find different ways to incorporate what I've done in the past into what I do in the future, and all those kinds of things, but also not looking at tokens as not all tokens are going to have really long staying power. and they might serve different purposes at different times. You know what I mean? So I'm just starting to like think about it a little differently, and I'm getting ready to hopefully get something out by Friday that is just really fun if it works. I've been like trying to like nail down the design before I put it into Nanar and like really think it through before I do that. So it's kind of fun to think about different ways in which, okay, what would the token do? That's honestly the thought that I'm having every time I'm thinking about this now.
Right.
Like,
and then you actually have an answer for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how does this fit into this thing I'm designing? And if it doesn't, then I'll remove it. You know what I mean? Like if it doesn't make sense, take it out. But then I start to think and I'm like, oh no, this makes sense here. Let me tweak it like this. Especially for games, that's particularly what my little focus is right now. So there is like I have multiple creator coins at this point. I have one from Retake. I have one on Zora. So they exist. I have not done too much of it because they weren't necessarily intentionally launched by me. They were launched because the platforms made me, which bugs me a little bit, but also I appreciate those who have bought those tokens. And I do keep that in mind when I build things. That's all. I'm not, NFA, not financial advice. Nothing we have said is legal advice. Also, and probably not a cult as my final follow-up. Adrienne, anything else before we wrap today?
No, I'm excited. I'm really excited for your mini app developer arc. I am also excited. I'm working on one as well that should be out in a few weeks, measured in weeks, not days. Sometime.
We should probably like coordinate timing on launches.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't started mine yet. So it's not.
Mine's simple too. Yours is a little more complicated.
Weeks at minimum, I think.
Yeah.
But
I think yours is a little more complicated than mine. So if you are in our chat, thanks. I see a lot of new folks in the chat. If you are on Farcaster and your name is not the same as it is on Twitter or wherever you're chatting from, please let us know who you are so we can give you a shout out over on Farcaster and the Base app and all the other clients in between. And we will be back this week. We are West Coast time the whole week. So we're at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Wednesday and Friday. Normally we are a little earlier, but this week to accommodate our guests. So follow GM Farcaster everywhere. Cassie of Equilibrium fame will be with us on Wednesday, and then Rish, who got million shout outs today, and Nanar will be with us on Friday. So we'll dive into some of those things that we touched on today. All right. Anything else, Adrienne?
Happy MLK Day. May there be more understanding and peace and love in the world.
And on that note, there's nothing left to say on that note. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us for this episode of GM Farcaster. And thank you to all our partners and HyperSub supporters bringing this episode to you. Follow the GM Farcaster channel for all the latest updates and add our mini app on Farcaster and the Base app. Until next time, bye-bye.